A CEO millionaire opens his door to find a terrified little girl in the pouring rain. Rain hammered against the windows of Marcus Chen's mansion like bullets. It was past midnight when he heard it. 3 soft knocks, then silence, then 3 more, desperate this time. When he opened the door, a little girl stood there, soaked to the bone, tears streaming down her face. "They hurt my mom," she whispered. "She's dying. Please help us." Marcus was a CEO, a millionaire, a man who solved billion-dollar problems before breakfast. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared him for this moment. This isn't just a story about wealth or power. It's about a split-second decision that changed 2 lives forever. And it all started with 3 knocks in the rain. The girl couldn't have been more than 7 years old. Her pink dress was torn at the hem, muddy and clinging to her small frame. She had no shoes. Her feet were cut and bleeding. Marcus stood frozen for a second, his mind racing. This was his private estate. High walls. Security gates. How did she even get here? "Where's your mom?" he asked, kneeling down to her level. The girl pointed toward the dark woods beyond his property. "They took her. But she got away. She's hiding. She told me to run and find help. She said find the big house with lights." Marcus didn't hesitate. He grabbed his phone, his car keys, and a flashlight. "Get in the car," he told her. "We're going to find your mom right now." As they drove through the storm, the girl told him everything. Her name was Emma. Her mom, Sarah, worked 3 jobs to keep them afloat after Emma's dad left. Tonight, Sarah had been walking home from her night shift at a diner when 2 men grabbed her. They tried to force her into a van. Sarah fought back, hard enough to break free, but not before they hurt her badly. She was bleeding, Emma said, her voice shaking, from her head. And her arm looked wrong. Marcus felt his chest tighten. He'd grown up with nothing. A single mom who worked herself to exhaustion just like Sarah. He remembered being Emma's age, scared and helpless, watching his own mother struggle. That old pain came rushing back like a flood. Emma directed him down a dirt road that led to an abandoned industrial area. Through the rain and darkness, Marcus spotted something. A figure huddled behind a dumpster near a condemned warehouse. It was Sarah. She was conscious, but barely. Blood matted her hair. Her left arm hung at an unnatural angle. "Mom!" Emma screamed, jumping out before Marcus could stop her. Sarah's eyes widened in terror when she saw. "Marcus, please," she gasped. "Don't let them find us. They said they'd come back. They said they'd finish this." Marcus called the police immediately, then an ambulance. But sirens take time, especially out here in the middle of nowhere. And that's when he heard it. The low rumble of an engine. Headlights cutting through the rain. A black van, moving slowly, searching. They were back. Marcus made a decision. He pulled Sarah to her feet as gently as he could. "I'm getting you both out of here. Now?" He half-carried Sarah to his car while Emma held her mother's good hand. They barely made it inside before the van spotted them. What happened next was straight out of a movie. Marcus drove like his life depended on it, because 3 lives actually did. The van followed, aggressive and relentless. Marcus had taken defensive driving courses for executive protection, but he'd never thought he'd actually need them. He took sharp turns, cut through a construction site, and finally lost them on the highway when he saw the flashing lights of a police cruiser. At the hospital, doctors rushed Sarah into surgery. She had a severe concussion, a broken arm, 3 cracked ribs, and internal bleeding. The attack had been brutal. Emma sat in the waiting room, still shaking, wrapped in a hospital blanket. Marcus sat next to her, this powerful CEO who commanded boardrooms and signed million-dollar deals, and he felt completely helpless. "Is my mom going to die?" Emma asked in a small voice. Marcus looked at this brave little girl who had run through the rain and darkness to save her mother. "Your mom is the toughest person I've ever met," he said. "And you? You're just like her. She's going to make it. I promise." Hours passed. Finally, a doctor emerged. Sarah had made it through surgery. She was stable. She'd recover fully, but it would take time. The police caught the attackers 3 days later. Turned out they were part of a robbery ring targeting women walking alone at night. Sarah had been in the wrong place at the wrong time, but her fighting back and Emma's courage had saved them both. Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Sarah and Emma. He visited them in the hospital every day. He learned that Sarah was drowning in medical debt even before this attack. She had no family nearby, no support system. She was doing everything alone. So Marcus did something that surprised even himself. He paid off all of Sarah's medical bills. Not as a publicity stunt. Not for tax write-offs. He did it because he remembered what it felt like to be helpless. He set up a trust fund for Emma's education. He offered Sarah a job at one of his companies with proper benefits, reasonable hours, and a salary that meant she'd never have to work 3 jobs again. "Why are you doing this?" Sarah asked him when she was finally well enough to talk. Marcus thought about his own mother, who had died when he was 16, worn down by poverty and exhaustion. He thought about all the times they needed help and no one came. "Because someone should have done this for my mom," he said simply. "And because that little girl of yours is the bravest person I've ever met. She saved your life. Now I'm just trying to make sure that life is worth living." 3 years later, Sarah thrives in her career. Emma excels in school. And Marcus? He started a foundation that helps single mothers in crisis. It provides emergency funds, legal support, job training, and housing assistance. All because of 3 knocks on his door in the rain. Here's what this story teaches us. Wealth means nothing if you don't use it to help others. Power means nothing if you don't stand up for the powerless. Marcus had every reason to call the police and shut his door that night. Instead, he risked his own safety to save 2 strangers. Emma didn't give up when her mom was hurt. She ran through darkness and rain to find help. A 7-year-old child showed more courage than most adults ever will. And Sarah fought off attackers, dragged herself to safety with broken bones, and held on long enough for help to arrive. This isn't a fairy tale. Bad things happen to good people every single day. Single mothers work themselves to exhaustion. Children grow up scared and hungry. And most of the time, nobody comes to help. But sometimes, just sometimes, someone opens the door. Someone decides that another person's life matters more than their own comfort. And everything changes. The next time you have a chance to help someone, even if it's inconvenient, even if it's scary, even if it costs you something, think about Emma knocking on that door in the rain. Think about what would have happened if Marcus had turned her away. One decision. One moment of courage. That's all it takes to save a life. If this story hit you hard, there's another one you need to see next. Click that video on your screen right now.